Good morning. We are on Yud Beis Amud Beis on the Mishnah. Zok the Mishnah. Kohen Gadol fore milamata ve'hedyo milamala. A Kohen Gadol can rip kriya for a karov milamata at the hem. Ve'hedyo milamala, and a hedyot, Kohen Hedyo, can rip milamala. And seemingly, what this means is that he can rip kriya over here on the top. That's for a regular Kohen, and a Kohen Gadol can only rip kriya over here on the bottom of the garment. Zok the Gemara, Kohen Gadol makriv onein v'lo ochel, v'hedyo lo makriv v'lo ochel. Like we said yesterday, Kohen Gadol can bring a korban when he's in onein, but he still can't eat the korban. And the hedyot can't even bring the korban when he's in onein, and for sure he can't eat the korban. Zok the Gemara, is machlokes Rav Shmuel in terms of the Kohen Gadol ripping for a karov. Lamata, Amar Rav, lamata, lamata, mamish, lamala, lamala, mamish. That's how we understood. Rav says lamata and lamala mean mamish. Lamata means the bottom over here, or the bottom of the garment. And lamala means for a regular edyot, he can rip the top of the garment, near the neck. Ushmuel Amar lamata, lamata, mekame safa. Lamala, lamala, mekave safa. Vizev, vizev, bitzavar. Shmuel says no. Both of them are talking about the neck opening. And what we're talking about here is that the regular Kohen rips over here, the top of the neck opening. And the Kohen Gadol cannot rip at the top of the neck opening, a regular kriya. He rips a more, I guess, basic kriya, which is over here, not at the neck opening. Meisvei zak the Gemara, kol ha-meisim kulan ratza mavdil kamei safa shalo, ratza ina mavdil kamei safa shalo, ala vivialimo mavdil. It says that by all other krovim except for an aveim, by a regular person, we're not talking about a Kohen over here, you rip wherever you want. By a regular person, for a karov, you can rip over here, you can rip over here. For an aveim, you need to rip over here. But what do you see clearly? Kevan de ba'alma have kara, kare kan begadav lo yifro. But we see that for regular non-aveim, you're yotze kriya by ripping here, which means that this is considered to be kriya. Which means, how can you suggest, Shmuel, that a Kohen Gadol can go ahead and rip kriya over here, and this will be his kriya? It's one thing to say he rips down here, that's not really a kriya. That's like a sign, it's a symbolic kriya, but it's not real kriya. He rips down here, that's Rav. But for Shmuel to say that the Kohen Gadol is going to rip for a karo over here, when we know that that's Yotzei Zayin for anybody else, for a non-Aveim, we know that the Pasuk Mefurish tells us that a Kohen Gadol is not allowed to rip for a karo, for a dead person. And therefore, at the end of the day, how is it possible that Shmuel can suggest, even though Eina Chanami, he's not ripping milamala, it's fine, he's ripping milamata over here, how can he suggest that a Kohen Gadol rips it all, if that's considered to be a good kriya for non-Kohanim, for non-Avaims? Says the Gemara, Shmuel Rabbi Yehuda Sfirle. Shmuel holds like Rabbi Yehuda the Amar, Kol Kara Sheino Mavdil Safa Shalo Eino Ela Kara Shel Tiflis. He holds like Rabbi Yehuda, who says that this tear is not a real tear. This is a kara shel tiflis. Unless you really rip it by the neck and down, that's a real tear. If you just rip over here, that's not a real tear. And therefore, over here, when the Kohen Gadol is ripping over here, that's not a real tear, and that's not a problem with the pasuk. Umi islay the Rabbi Yehuda kriya b'Kohen Gadol. Now the question becomes: now you're suggesting that Rabbi Yehuda has kriya b'Kohen Gadol, and over here that's not a real tear. Vatanya ilu ne'amar rosh lo yifro veged lo yifro ma'isi omer b'roshu beged shel sota kasam medaber. If it would have said rosh lo yifro veged lo yifrom, you would think that what it's telling me is that the Kohen Gadol cannot rip and cannot tear the hair or the beged of the sota when she gets disgraced. Talmud Lomer, what does it say? Es rosho lo yifro v'gadav lo yifrom she'eno beprio prima kol ikar di Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda says not only can he not rip the hair or the clothing of the sota, what we learn from here, es rosho lo yifro v'gadav lo yifrom, is that he can't rip his own. And Rabbi Yehuda says that even this is considered to be a ripping. So now you have a problem. Rabbi Yehuda says that this is nothing, and then he says that the Kohen Gadol can't do anything. So the fact that he says this is nothing, the Kohen Gadol can't do anything, that's not a problem. He's saying this is nothing, and the Kohen Gadol can't do anything, seemingly he can't rip here as either. So then how can Shmuel say that he's allowed to rip here because this is nothing? Says the Gemara, Rabbi Shmuel Omer Eino Porim Kederash Bnei Adam Pormin Elahu Milamata V'Hedu Milamala. That's what we said. Shmuel Savalak Rabbi Yehuda Bechada Upalig Ala Bechada. So what comes out again is that according to Rav, when a Kohen Gadol uses a relative, so he agrees he can't rip a regular kriya, he can't rip kriya over here. We said this is milamala, this is milamata, according to Rav. When he rips over here on the bottom, that's just like a symbolic kriya, that's not a real kriya, therefore the Kohen Gadol can do that according to Rav. He can't rip anywhere up here, not here, not here, because that would be a real kriya, and that would be asa for the Kohen Gadol based on the pasuk. Comes along Shmuel, and he has more of a chiddush, and he says no. The Kohen Gadol doesn't have to rip down here, he doesn't have to rip all the way on the bottom of the shirt, he can even rip over here. because the only real kriya is the one that's by the neck and over here. If he rips over here, that's not a real kriya. We have Rabbi Yehuda who seems to say that this is a real kriya, but he says Lamaisa that Shmuel would hold that this is not a real kriya, and therefore it comes out again. The difference between Rav and Shmuel is Rav would say that if a Kohen Gadol loses a karo, if he wants to rip, he would have to rip down here. According to Shmuel, he can rip over here. Everybody here would agree he can't rip in the regular place from the neck and down.
Just curious why no one thought of the direction of ripping rather than the position.
Right.
In other words, ripping, cutting from the top down, or cutting the same spot but from the bottom.
Right. It
up.
seems like the real ripping is when you cut the neck. It's interesting. Halacha l'maaseh.
You cut the neck the other way around.
Yeah,
going
but
I guess.
you see the guy.
You see the finished product.
Walking around, already cut.
It's interesting. Halacha l'maaseh. There's all different types of. You'll see some people that are makbid like rip the entire thing, and some people will dafka rip over here and then down for an aveim. Right? They'll like unbutton and they'll go like this. If you look at Shulchan Aruch, it seems like you should really be ripping from the neck. But then it becomes complicated. So then you're ripping over here, and then you're like pulling down the entire thing. So there are different ways people do kriya, because it's also supposed to be over the heart. So there's a whole discussion in terms of that. Many people say that it's okay to just go. This is considered to be like the equivalent of the neck, the hem over here. So many people, that's what I was told, is that I unbutton this button just so that you'll have something to button afterwards, and you can go like this with a knife, and then down like this. So you end up going this amount, 4 tvachim, and then afterwards it's hanging down, and then at least you could take the button and button it up, so you'll have a tear over here and over here, but that's one. But you will see people rip over here, and when you rip the jacket, so usually they'll rip on the neck, you'll rip over there at the lapel, which is considered to be the neck, and then you'll just rip down 4 tvachim, but that's a pshat. For an aveim, nobody should know, you have to rip all your clothing, and for a non-father and mother, you only rip one garment. Zok the Mishnah. Kol atadir me chavero kodem es chavero. This is tadir v'sheino tadir kodem. V'chol ha-mekudash me chavero kodem es chavero. And kudash v'sheino mekudash kodem. So the more tadir one and the mekudash one is going to be first. Par ha-Mashiach, we're on the bottom Mishnah on Yud Beis and Beis. Par ha-Mashiach par ha-Eda omdin, par ha-Mashiach kodem le par ha-Eda b'chol masa. We're going to see over here that when you have two animals standing and you're not sure which one to shecht, so then it's going to depend on different rules. It's interesting that this actual rule does not depend on the first part. I would have thought this depends on the first part of the Mishnah, that one of them is Tadir or Mekudesh. It's not true, as we'll see. But there's a separate law that if you have the power of the Kohen Gadol, or the power of the Eda, which is the power Helam Davar Shel Tzibor, the power of the personal Kohen Gadol, personal power, or the power Helam Davar Shel Tzibor, you might think that the Tzibor one comes first. Says the Mishnah, the power of the Kohen Gadol comes before the power Helam Davar of the Tzibor. Minan immediately. Let's go back. How do we know that Tadir v'sheino tadir kodem? It's a pasuk. Amar Abayi de Amar Kra milvad olas haboker asher leolas hatamid. The olas haboker, that's the olas hatamid. Michti ksiv olas haboker olas hatamid lamli. What are you adding by telling me that the olas haboker is the olas hatamid? I know I bring it every single morning. Says the Gemara, Hachi kam rachmana kol de tadira kedima. It's teaching me that Tadir v'sheino tadir kodem because it's telling me that the olas haboker is the olas hatamid. Since it is olas tamid, since it is brought every day, always, therefore it's going to come first. Therefore, olas haboker will come first, since it's olas tamid. That's what olas tamid is teaching me. Since it's tadir, since it's tamid, since it comes every day, therefore it will be before any other korban. How do you know that the mekudash comes first? The Tana B'Rishmal v'kidashto. Who's that talking about? A kohen. You make a kohen kodesh. L'chol davar shebigdusha. You make him kadosh for davar shebigdusha. Liftoach rishon, he gets the first aliyah. Levarich rishon, he leads birkas hamazon. V'lito mana yaf rishon, and he gets the choicest of the food that he wants. So again, Tadir v'sheino tadir kodem is olas haboker asher leolas hatamid, clarifying olas haboker, and hakol hamekudash is first from v'kidashto. Yud Gimel Amud Aleph on the top. Sit down before we finish the Masechta. Zok the Gemara. Par kohen mashuach upar eda. Minahani mili. You'll get them next time. Minahani mili. Detarnu rabbanan v'saraf oso kasher saraf as a par rishon. How do you know that the personal power of the kohen mashuach comes before the par halim davar shel tzibor? Because it says, you burn the par ha'eda like you burnt the par harishon. What's the par harishon? Ma tamud lomar. Harishon, sheyehe rishon kodem lepar ha'eda b'chol matzav. Over there, the rishon is talking about the par kohen mashuach. Why does it call it the rishon? To teach me that it always comes before the other korban. And therefore it says, v'saraf, the par ha'eda, kasher saraf es par harishon, the par of the kohen. To teach me that the par of the kohen always comes before the par of the eda. Tanu Rabbanan. Par Kohen Mashiach uPara'eda Omdin. Par Kohen Mashiach Kodin LePara'eda B'chol Masav, like we said. But now it gives a different reason, not because of the pasuk. Why does the power of the Kohen come first? Hoelu Mashiach Mechaper Ve'eda Mischaperes Dinhu Sheyaktim HaMechaper LeMiskaper. No, it's not because of the pasuk. Yes, there's a pasuk, but what's the reason in logic that the power of the Kohen needs to come before the power that he's bringing on behalf of the entire Jewish people? Because if he's going to be bringing it on behalf of the Jewish people, he himself needs to be forgiven first. And that's what it says, like we say in Yom Kippur, V'cheinu omer v'chiper ba'do v'ad beiso, and only then uva'ad kol kahal Yisrael. So you have a Mefurish pasuk which says that it comes first. The Saraf Osa, the power Eda, comes second. Kasher Saraf is the power Harishon, which was the power of the Kohen Mashiach. But in Svar, it makes sense as well that the Kohen Mashiach is going to take care of himself and get kapara for himself before he's going to go ahead and enact kapara on behalf of the Jewish people.
Oxygen mask dropping down.
Right, always put on yours first and then your child. Par Helim Davar Shal Tzibor Kodem LePar Shal Avodas Kochavim. So now we have the Par Helim Davar Shal Tzibor if they forget a ruling. That comes before the par for Avodas Kochavim if they serve idolatry b'shogeg. How do you know that? My taima. Haychatas v'hayola. The par elim davar is in the category of chatas. The par for avodas kochavim, which the tzibor did, b'shogeg is in the ola category. V'tanya, and we have a pasuk that says v'ikriv as asher lechatas rishona. Why does it say ma talmud lomar? Why does it tell me that the chatas comes first? Im l'lamed shetei chatas rishona rei kvar nemar v'yas hasheni yaseh ola kamishpat. This comes about the korban ola v'yorid, which changes depending on how much money you have. So it says over there that you bring a chatas, and then you bring the ola, because by a korban ola you bring a chatas and a ola. So it says you bring the chatas la rishona, and then it says v'es hasheni yaseh ola kamishpat. So the Gemara says, I don't understand. It could have just said v'hikr v'es hachatas, and then you should bring the ola. Why does it have to call the chatas the rishon and the ola the sheni? It's obvious. It says the Gemara because it's not teaching for here. It could have just said you bring the chatas and then you bring the ola. But when it says you bring the chatas and the chatas is rishon, it's telling me not only here is a chatas rishon, a chatas always comes before an ola, even to the point where you have a chatas oaf, a bird which is always on a lower level than a behema. That chatas oaf always comes before an olas behema as well. And again, that means that if two people are waiting in the Beis HaMikdash to bring korbanos, so it's not that you wait online. It sounds like, again, I don't know exactly how it works, but it sounds like you'd show up, everybody would be waiting for 2 hours, and then you say, I did a bigger sin, and you go straight to the front of the line, you bring your chatas. Zone 1. Right. Zone 1. Says the Gemara, the bigger sinners get forgiven first. Zone 1. Zok the Gemara, power of avodas kochavim, and this power of avodas kochavim of the tzibor is kodem l'sayir avodas kochavim. That's before the sayir that's bought for the avodas kochavim. Says the Gemara, amai, that doesn't make sense. Hai chatas, the sayir is actually the chatas there, v'hayola. And the par is the ola, and you just told me that the chatas comes before the ola. So why are we bringing the ola before the chatas? Amrei b'marav mishmei de Rava bar Meri, chatas avodas kochavim chasira aleph. You're right. In general, the seir of the avodas kochavim should have come first because that's the chatas. But when it's written over there by the avodas kochavim, it's missing an aleph. Lichatas. If it's missing an aleph, to tell me that this particular chatas is missing something, i.e., we're going to treat it on a lower level than ola, even though we usually treat chatas on a higher level than ola. Rava mar kamishpak sibei. Rava says a different reason. It says in the psukim over there by the korbanos of avodas kochavim, ola is actually written first. So if it was just written first and it didn't say the word kamishpat, then we would say even though it's written first, we know in general chatas comes before ola. But because it's written first and then it says kamishpat, kamishpat is teaching me do exactly the way that it's written in the psukim. And by the psukim over there it says ola before chatas. So chatas comes before ola in general. By the par and the asayir of something that the tzibor did, avodas kochavim, by accident, in that particular case, that would be the exception to the rule, and the ola would come before the chatas. Zok the Gemara, sayir avodas kochavim kodem l'sar nasi. The sar for avodas kochavim comes before the sar of a nasi who made a mistake b'shogeg my taima. Hay tzibor b'hayachid, because the sar of the avodas is coming on behalf of the tzibor, and that comes, even though it's the nasi, that comes before the personal korban of the melech. So our nasi kodem l'siras yachid, and the nasi comes first. My taima hay melech v'hayad. It makes sense. The nasi is the melech, so he's going to have first dibs. Seiras yachid kodemes lekifsas yachid. The sar of a yachid is going to come before the sheep of a yachid. Both of those are chatases, but the sar will come before the sheep. V'hatanya kifsas yachid kodemes l'siras yachid. We have another brisa that says that the sheep comes before the sar. Amar Abaye Tanaihi. It's a machlokes tanaim, which is more chashav, the sar or the kifsa, whichever one is more chashav is going to come first. Again, they're both chatases. Mar savar seira adifa. Why would a sar be adif? Shekain nisra be'etz al avodas kochavim biyachid. Because you see that if you serve avodah zara biyachidus by accident, what do you bring? You bring a sar. Obviously, the sar is very powerful if it can get rid of the isser, if it can get rid of the sin of avodah zara, even though it was b'shogeg. So clearly, the sar is stronger than the keves, and it will come first. Umar savar kivza adifa shekain nisra be'al. And the other one says that no, the kifsa, they both obviously have something that makes them quote-unquote stronger. The kifsa is stronger because you burn the entire thing, even the tail of the keves, which you don't do by the sar, and therefore, since you burn even the tail, you would go ahead and say that one's more chashav. That's the machlokes, and that's why they argue which one will come first. Omer kodem lekeves haba imo shtei alechem kodmin likvasim haba mimayim. You bring the korban omer on the second day of Pesach. You bring the shtei alechem on Shavuos. Both of those korbanos come before. Those are not animals. Those come before the animals that accompany them. Za'akla why? Davar haba begin liyom kodem ledavar haba begin lechem. That if the one is coming for a regular korban is obviously going to be after the one that's covering. Even though again it's interesting. One would think. This is interesting because this is coming out basically. I didn't think about this. This is coming out tadir v'sheino tadir versus mekudash v'sheino mekudash. Sounds like mekudash again. I don't know if this is anywhere, but it just seems like it's saying the one for the day, the kiddush hayom, the shtei alechem and the omer will trump. So it sounds like when you have the day, when you have tadir v'sheino tadir tadir kodem, mekudash v'sheino mekudash mekudash kodem. Here it sounds like it's mekudash versus tadir, and it sounds like it's saying that we're going with the mekudash. I don't know if that's always true, that we go with the mekudash over the tadir. But lamaisa, I thought usually we say tadir v'sheino tadir tadir kodem, but again, maybe when it's versus mekudash, I can't think of an example off the top of my head. Maybe if it's mekudash, it sounds like over here, the mekudash will actually come first. It's defining the holidays, but again, it's giving the kiddush of the yom. Yeah. That's what I think that's why it Dafka uses those words, begin liyom, the kiddush of the yom. Okay, could be. Zak the Mishnah. Ha'ish kodem le'isha lahachi or salahashav aveda. If you have a choice between saving a man and a woman, you save the man, and you return the item to him. Seemingly this is because the man has more mitzvos that he's chayiv in than a woman. Ve'isha kodemes le'ish, but an isha is before an ish for ksus, to give them clothing, ulahoti mibeis hashvi, and to save them from captivity, because worse things can happen to a woman in captivity than a man. However, all things being equal, if the man is also in danger in captivity, and seemingly we talk about danger for sexual danger, like being sodomized, etc. Usually we don't assume that that's a concern for a man, but if that is in fact a concern, then ha'ish kodem le'isha, then the ish would be before the isha over there as well. Tanu Rabbanan. Hayehu v'aviv v'rabo b'shvi, hu kodem l'rabo, v'rabo kodem l'aviv, imo kodemes l'kulam. You always have to worry about yourself first. So you come before your father and your Rebbe. Your Rebbe comes before your father, and your mother comes before everybody. Chacham kodem lemelech Yisrael. A chacham comes before a melech. Chacham shemeis ein lanu kayotze. But why? Because if a chacham dies, there's nobody to replace him. Melech Yisrael shemeis kol Yisrael re'uyim lemalchus. You can teach anybody to be a king. You can't make anybody a talmud chacham. Melech kodem. I mean, you can if they try hard, but you can't just say, okay, you're going to become a talmud chacham. You have to actually work at it. Melech nunu. Melech kodem lekohen gadol. A melech comes before the kohen gadol. Shenamar vayomer hamelech. This is David HaMelech speaking. Lahem. We had this pasuk yesterday. Kechui machem me'avdei adonechem. Take the avdonei adonechem. What's he talking about? David is calling Tzidki Tzadok, the Kohen Gadol, his servant. He's calling him his Adoni. He's calling him his Aved. Aved adonechem. He's talking about taking Tzadok HaKohen. So you see that the Melech David is referring to the Kohen Gadol Tzadok as an Aved. Kohen Gadol is Kodem l'Navi. Kohen Gadol is before the Navi. Shenamar u'mashach so sham tzadok hakohen v'nasan hanavi hiktim tzadok l'nasan, but tzadok still comes before nasan hanavi. Ve'omer, and it says Shmana Yehoshua Kohen Agadol atav v'reyacha. He said that you, Yehoshua, the Kohen Gadol, should hear you and your reyacha. Yochel had yotos. You might think that Yehoshua the Kohen Gadol was greater than reyacha being regular kohanim. Talmud Lomar, it calls these reyacha anshe mofes hema. Vein mofes ela navi. Shenemar v'nasani lecha oso mofes. So it comes out that they're talking and they're saying, Yehoshua the Kohen Gadol, you come before reyacha. Reyacha are the navis. So you clearly see that the Kohen Gadol comes before the navi. Again, this is in chashivas, etc. Mashuach b'shemen hamishcha kodem lemeruba begadim, like we said yesterday, the Kohen Gadol that was anointed is before the one that just became with meruba begadim. Meruba begadim kodem lemashiach sha'avar machmas kiryo. If in fact he was anointed but removed temporarily because of a seminal emission, then the meruba begadim would be greater than him. The Mashiach sha'avar machmas kiryo is still greater than the kodem la'avar machmas mumo. He's still greater than the one who was removed because of a mum. It's worse to be removed because of a mum than because of an emission. Avar machmas mumo, but even the avar machmas mumo who was removed temporarily because of a mum, kodem lemashuach melchama. It's still greater than the Kohen that's anointed to go out to battle. But Mashuach Melchama is Kodem L'Skan. The Mashuach Melchama is still greater than the assistant Kohen Gadol. Skan Kodem L'Amrakel. But the assistant Kohen Gadol is higher than the Amrakel. My Amrakel, Amrav Chista Amar Kula. It's the one who says everything. He's the one who basically runs the temple. He's the CEO of the temple, one would say. Or you would say, yeah, maybe not. Maybe he's the maintenance guy of the temple. I'm not sure. Administrator of the temple. Amrakel Kodem LeGizbar. And Amrakel is before the Gizbar because he's only in charge of one part of the temple, the treasury. Gizbar Kodem LeRosh Mishmar. We know that they were split up, the Kohanim and Levim were split up into 24 Mishmaros to watch over and to sing while they were watching over the temple. So the Gizbar is greater than the Rosh Mishmar, these 24 heads of the Mishmar. Rosh Mishmar Kodem LeRosh Beisav. And these 24 groups were split up. Each group was split up into 7 groups for one day of the week, and each one of those had a person that was in charge of the Rosh Beisav. That was called the Rosh Beisav of each day of the week. So obviously the Rosh Mishmar is going to be greater than the individual 7 guys who are the heads of each day of the week. Rosh Beisav Kodem LeKohen Hedyot. But even the Rosh Beisav is going to be higher than a Kohen Hedyot, because that was seemingly a Kohen as well. At least he had a little bit of a title. It says in Gemara, Yibayu Le'inyan Tumah, when it comes to burial, that means even though you're going to tell me one is greater than the other, when it comes to burial, Skanu Mashuach Melchama Eze Mehem Kodem. There's a discussion, maybe when it's a Skan and Mashuach Melchama, which one should come first? Well, you just told me that a Mashuach Melchama is higher than a Skan. So I would think that if there's a mace mitzvah, for sure the Skan needs to go ahead and bury him. But the Gemara seems to say not. Amar Marzutra Brei Rav Nachman Tashma Detanya Skanu Mashuach Melchama Shahayu Ma'alchim Baderech Upagim Hem Mace Mitzvah Mutav Sheyidma Mashuach Melchama Ve'al Yitma Skan Shem Yera Bo Psul B'Kohen Gadol Nichnas Haskanu Mishame Tachtav. That means it's better for the Mashuach Melchama to get, because he could still go to war. But if the Skan gets Tameh and then the Kohen Gadol gets Tameh, then the assistant, there's nobody left. So therefore, yes, the Mashuach Melchama might be higher, quote unquote, than the Skan for honor and for other things. But when it comes to being Matame for a mace mitzvah, the Mashuach Melchama should be Matame before the Skan should be Matame. V'hatanya Mashuach Melchama kodem l'Skan. You told me that Mashuach Melchama is higher. Amravi Nikitanya hi lachios. Right, that's in terms of saving him, and in terms of other things, he's on a higher level. But specifically in terms of being Matame, the Skan is on a higher level, and the Mashuach Melchama should be Matame and not the Skan. When it comes to all the other ones, it sounds like the Gemara is taking a pashut, whichever one is on a higher level, he would not be Matame before the one who's on a lower level. The one on a lower level would be Matame first. Kohen kodem leLevi, Levi leYisrael, Yisrael leMamzer, Mamzer leNasin. Those are the ones who converted at the times of the conquest of Eretz Yisrael. V'Nasin leGer, but that Nasin is still higher than a Ger. V'Ger leEved Meshucher, and a Ger is still higher than an Eved Knani that was freed. Emasai, when is this true? Bisman shekulam shavin. Listen carefully. This is fascinating. Avalim hayam mamzer talmid chacham v'kohen gadol am haaretz. Mamzer talmid chacham kodem lekohen gadol am haaretz. It's all things, yes, all things being equal, but at the end of the day, Torah trumps everything. I shouldn't say that word. Torah is higher than everything. So at the end of the day, Lamaisa, if you have the Kohen Gadol, and you have the Mamzer, but the Mamzer, I think this comes up in Pirkei Avos as well. If you have the Mamzer who's a Kuza, the Mamzer, it's in Pirkei Avos as well. A Mamzer who has Torah is higher in Chashivos and for Kibudim and all the things than a Kohen Gadol who is an Amma Aretz. Zok the Gemara. Now again, it's not saying a Kohen Gadol who knows a little bit. That's obviously, if you have a Kohen Gadol that knows some stuff and a Mamzer who's a big Talmid Chacham, it's not necessarily true. But a Kohen Gadol who knows an Amma Aretz and a Mamzer who knows a Talmid Chacham, again, the exact details. But the point is that Torah is higher than everything. Kohen Kodem LeLevi. Where do you see that Kohen is higher than a Levi? Shenemar, it says, Ubnei Amram Aaron uMoshe, Vayavdel Aharon lahakdisho Kodesh Kodashim. That Aaron was higher than Moshe because, in this sense, he was more Kodesh than Moshe because Aaron was made the Kohen Gadol. So Kohen is higher than Levi. Moshe was just a Levi. Levi Kodem LeYisrael. Shenemar Be'esa Yivdil Hashem Es Sheves HaLevi he separated Sheves Levi, so you see that Levi is higher than Yisrael. Yisrael, Kodem L'Mamzer, Shezeh Miyuchas, V'zeh Inu Miyuchas. Yisrael at least has good pedigree. A mamzer comes from an illicit relationship. Mamzer Kodem L'Nasim, but at least a mamzer is higher than a nasim, because Zeh Pa Mitipa Kshera, V'zeh Ma Mitipa Psula. Because at least a mamzer, even though it was an illicit relationship, they were both Jewish. When it comes to a nasin, the parents weren't Jewish, or the ancestors weren't Jewish. Nasin Kodem L'Ger, a nasin is greater than a ger. Why? Neither one of them come from a tipa kshera, because Zeh Gadol Imanu B'Kedusha, V'zeh Lo Gadol Imanu B'Kedusha. Because at least the nasin grew up, right? Once his ancestors converted, so he grew up as a Jew. This ger who's coming before us didn't grow up as a Jew. He himself or she herself converted. Therefore, she doesn't come from tipa kshera, and she didn't grow up as a Jew. Therefore, she's going to be lower than a nasin. But a ger is still kodem le'evan meshachar. Why? Zeh haya b'chlal arer, v'zeh lo haya b'chlal arer. Where was he b'chlal arer? The Eved Kanani Meshachar. Who cursed the Eved Kanani Meshachar? Noach. Cursed Canaan. So he cursed Canaan, so Canaan was Arar, and the ger was not Arar. Eimasai, unless he's a ger from Canaan. But that, what? Eimasai bisman shekulan shavin. Minani mili. Where do you see that Torah trumps everything? Amar Avacha, Rabbi Chanina. De Amar Kra, Yikarahi mipninim. Torah is more precious than pearls. And make a diok, mi kohen gadol shenichnas lifnai v'lifnim. Torah is even more precious than the Kohen Gadol who goes inside the Kodesh Kodashim. Again, assuming he's not a Talmud Chacham. Tanya, Rashbi, Omer, Bidin hu sheyaktim Eved Meshachar leger. Really, the Eved Meshachar should come before the ger. Because again, neither one of them comes from Tipa Kshera. Neither one of them grew up Jewish, seemingly, as we'll see in a second, not true. Shezeh gadol imanu b'kedusha, v'zeh lo gadol imanu b'kedusha. But the Eved Meshachar should maybe come first, because at the end of the day, he still grew up in a Jewish house. Yes, you might have been the thing, but as we all know, the Filipinos who know more Judaism than some Jews who didn't grow up, right? They grew up and they know all of the halachas and everything. They speak Hebrew, they know all the halachas. Just look at the security guard over here now. He tells me. I always tell him you're better off watching. Instead of learning Hebrew, you should be watching us. But whatever, that's a separate thing. But over here, Lamaisa, you see that those people who work in Jewish houses, so they know about Judaism. So the Eved might have been an Eved Kanani, but Lamaisa, they're still new. They still know a lot about Judaism. I know, right? It's okay. I'm telling him that he should be doing his job and not learning Hebrew. So the Eved Meshachar at least grew up in a Jewish house. The ger didn't grow up in a Jewish house, but nevertheless, the curse of Noach was so strong that even though the Eved Meshachar grew up in a Jewish house, Lamais at the end of the day, it's still not enough to get rid of the aura of Noach, and therefore the ger will be higher. Shalu Tamidav es Rabbi Elazar Rabbi Tzadok Mipnei Ma Kol Ratzin Lisa Giores Veina Kol Ratzin Lisa Mishuchreres. Why does everybody run to marry a Giores woman and not a Mishuchreres woman? Amar Lahem Zuhaisa Bichlal Aror V'Zu Lo Haisa Bichlal Aror. Nobody wants to marry a woman that was cursed by Noach. Davar Acher Zuhaya Becheska Shamar V'Zu Lo Ayasa Becheska Shamar. That means a ger at a certain point in her life, hopefully earlier than later, she realized that she wants to convert. So at that point, when she starts to get serious and starts to learn about Judaism, she's no longer going to go ahead and make herself free to have illicit relationships. But the Eved Meshachar, at the time that she's an Eved, she never thinks that she's going to be freed. So the time that she's an Eved, she makes herself Hefker. So the ger, at an earlier point in her life, we're assuming, would not have made herself Hefker. Therefore, she's more clean than the Eved Meshachar. And therefore, a person would want to marry a ger versus marrying an Eved Meshachar. Says the Gemara, Shalu Talmidav es Rabbi Elazar, Mipnei ma kakelev makeres kona v'chatul ena makeres kona. Supposedly a cat might recognize its owner a little bit, but they don't protect their owner. Or maybe they don't even recognize their owner at all. A cat is not as protective of their owner. A dog is protective. Why is that? Amar lehen, Uma ha'ochel mima she'achbar ochel mishakeach ha'ochel achbar atzmal achas kama v'kama. What does that mean? We're saying cats are not so smart. They don't have the capacity. Why? Because we learned earlier that if mice eat something and you eat the leftovers, why do you want to do that? Okay, you're desperate, you eat the leftovers of mice. Eating the leftovers of mice causes you to forget things. So for sure the cat, which eats the mice itself, for sure the cat's going to forget things and not be the smartest creature in the world. I thought cats were smart, but I guess that they're not so smart. Oh, you think they're selfish? I don't like dogs. I don't like dogs or cats, so it doesn't matter. Shalu Talmid of Rabbi Eliezer. Mipnei ma kol mushlam b'achbarim. Why does everybody moshel over mice? Mipnei shesuran ra. They're selfish. They have a bad nature. Who likes cats? People seemingly like cats. Mahi, what's their bad nature? Where do you see that cats have a bad nature? Because they're selfish and they'll ruin your stuff even when they get no hana from it. For instance, Ravamar filu glimi gaitzi. I'm sorry, it's not cats. This is mice. Cats also, no. Mice will gnaw even through garments. We know that unfortunately mice don't just eat your food, they eat even your garments, even though the mice, they don't get any hana. Maybe they get a little bit of hana from the garments, but still, Rav Papa Marfilu Shufta Maragaiti. They even go and they eat through and gnaw through the handle of a spade, which for sure they're not getting any hana from. And Lamaisa, therefore you see that mice are very selfish, and therefore Lamaisa we say that people will rule over mice. Okay, we're going to stop here.